What kind of person bulldozes through someone else's land without a shred of remorse? The kind like Karen and Kelly. Sisters who treated my family's farm like their personal shortcut. Their shiny SUV tearing through our fields, flattening crops, and leaving ruts deep enough to drown a calf. They didn't care. They'd roll down their windows, laugh, and wave like it was a game. Their voices sharp and mocking, cutting through the quiet of our mornings. I'd stand there, fists clenched, watching them speed off, their laughter lingering like a bad smell. This was our land, generations of sweat and sacrifice. Every acre a piece of my grandfather's legacy. He'd built this place from nothing, his hands calloused from decades of work, his heart tied to every blade of grass. And now these sisters, with their manicured nails and entitled sneers, thought they could trample it without consequence. I tried talking to them once, jogging after their car as it slowed at the edge of our property. Karen, the older one, leaned out, her face red and puffed with indignation. "It's just a field," she snapped, her voice dripping with disdain. "Get over it." Kelly, in the passenger seat, cackled, her eyes hidden behind oversized sunglasses. I stood there, breathless, my words useless against their arrogance. That was the day I knew talking wouldn't solve this. The complaints started small. My sister, Lila, noticed the first ruts, her brow furrowing as she traced the tire tracks through our soybean field. "They're not even trying to hide it," she said, her voice tight with anger. We posted signs big, bold ones that read, "Private property. No trespassing." They tore them down. We called the sheriff, but he just shrugged, saying it was a civil matter, his boots barely touching our dirt before he left. Every day, the sisters drove through, their SUV kicking up dust, their music blaring, their disregard a slap in the face. Lila wanted to sue, but we didn't have the money for lawyers. Our parents were gone, lost to a car accident years ago, and Grandpa, now in his 80s, was too frail to fight. But his eyes, sharp as ever, burned when he saw the damage. One evening, as we sat on the porch, the air heavy with the scent of rain, he spoke, his voice low and steady. "They think they own the world," he said, his gnarled hands gripping his cane. "But this land, it's ours. Always will be." I nodded, my chest tight. I didn't know what to do, but Grandpa did. He always did. The next morning, I found him in the barn, surrounded by old tools and scraps of wood, his hands moving with a purpose I hadn't seen in years. "We're not begging," he said, not looking up. "We're taking it back." He told me about the Trapa pit, dug deep and wide, disguised with branches and dirt, strong enough to stop a car cold. It was an old trick, one he'd used decades ago to keep poachers off our land. I hesitated, my stomach twisting. What if they get hurt? I asked. Grandpa's eyes met mine, hard as flint. "They're hurting us," he said. "They'll learn." Lila overheard and joined us, her face pale but resolute. We worked through the night, digging under the cover of darkness, the earth cool and heavy under our shovels. The pit was perfect, hidden in the path they always took, just beyond the rise where their SUV would hit it at full speed. I felt a pang of guilt, but it faded every time I thought of their laughter, their careless destruction. This was justice, not revenge. By dawn, the trap was ready, and we waited. The sisters didn't disappoint. At 7:12 a.m., their SUV roared into view. Music pulsing, tires chewing up the dirt. My heart pounded as they crested the hill. Then it happened. Metal groaned. Tires screeched, and the car lurched forward, nose first into the pit. Dust exploded, and for a moment, everything was still. Then the doors flew open, and Karen stumbled out, her face a mask of fury, her voice a banshee wail. "What the hell is this?" she screamed, stomping toward us. Kelly followed, her phone already out, filming, her voice shrill. "You're gonna pay for this," she yelled. Lila stepped forward, her hands on her hips, unflinching. "This is our land," she said, her voice steady. "You don't get to destroy it." Karen's eyes narrowed, and she took a step closer, her bulk imposing, her finger jabbing the air. "You think this is over? You're nothing but dirt farmers. We'll sue you into the ground." I felt my blood boil, but Grandpa's hand on my shoulder stopped me. He didn't say a word, just watched, his silence louder than their threats. Then came the twist we didn't see coming. As Karen ranted, a small crowd gathered, neighbors we hadn't spoken to in years, drawn by the commotion. Among them was Mrs. Carter, a quiet widow who lived down the road. She stepped forward, her voice trembling but clear. "I saw what you did," she said, pointing at the sisters. "You ran over my dog last month, driving through here like you own the place. Never even stopped." The air shifted, heavy with her words. Karen's face faltered, just for a second, but Kelly scoffed, rolling her eyes. "Prove it," she spat. But Mrs. Carter wasn't alone. Another neighbor, Tom, spoke up, his voice rough. "You tore up my fence last spring. Never paid for it." The sisters' bravado cracked, their eyes darting between the growing crowd. I realized then that we weren't alone in this fight. Their recklessness had left a trail of enemies, and now those voices were rising, a chorus of resentment. The standoff grew hotter, the air thick with tension. Karen, red-faced and sweating, shoved a finger in Lila's face, her voice a snarl. "You think you can trap us? You're gonna regret this. You little nobody." Lila didn't flinch, her eyes blazing. "You've been stealing from us for months," she shot back. "This ends now." Kelly, still filming, laughed, but it was nervous, her hand shaking. The neighbors pressed closer, their murmurs growing louder, their anger feeding ours. I glanced at Grandpa, expecting him to step in, but he just stood there, his cane planted in the dirt, his face unreadable. Then Karen made her move. She lunged toward Lila, her bulk like a storm cloud. I reacted without thinking, stepping between them, my heart racing. "Back off," I said, my voice low but firm. Karen froze, her eyes wide with shock, as if no one had ever stood up to her before. For a moment, it was just us, the world narrowing to her glare and my resolve. Then Kelly grabbed her sister's arm, pulling her back. "Let's go," she muttered. "This isn't worth it." But it wasn't over, not yet. The sheriff arrived an hour later, his cruiser kicking up dust as he stepped out, his face weary. Karen and Kelly were quick to play the victims, their voices overlapping as they pointed at the wrecked SUV, claiming we'd endangered their lives. The sheriff surveyed the scene, his eyes lingering on the pit, then on Grandpa. "This you're doing, Amos?" he asked, his tone neutral. Grandpa nodded, unapologetic. "They've been trespassing for months, Jim. You know it." The sheriff sighed, rubbing his neck. He turned to the sisters, who were still ranting, their words losing steam as the neighbors began to speak. Mrs. Carter told her story again, her voice breaking as she mentioned her dog. Tom added his account, and another neighbor chimed in about a near miss with their kids on the road. The sisters' faces paled, their confidence unraveling like a cheap sweater. The sheriff didn't arrest us. Instead, he issued them a citation for trespassing and ordered their car towed. As the tow truck hauled their SUV away, Karen's eyes locked on mine, promising revenge. But I saw something else in her gaze: fear. Their downfall was swift. Word spread fast in our small town, and the sisters' reputation crumbled. The local paper ran a story, not about our trap, but about their trail of destruction: fences, crops, even Mrs. Carter's dog. People stopped serving them at the diner, the gas station, the market. Their social media, once filled with smug selfies, went silent. Kelly tried to post a video of the incident, painting themselves as victims, but the comments tore them apart: neighbors, strangers, even people from the next county over who'd heard similar stories. They'd built their lives on intimidation, but now they were outcasts, their power gone. I saw Karen once, weeks later, at the edge of town, her face drawn, her eyes avoiding mine. She looked smaller, deflated, like a balloon left out too long. Kelly wasn't with her. Rumor had it they'd fought, their sisterhood fracturing under the weight of their shame. Looking back, I don't feel triumph, only relief. The trap wasn't just about stopping their car. It was about reclaiming what was ours. Not just our land, but our dignity. Grandpa taught me that. He didn't say much after it was over. But one night, as we sat on the porch, the stars bright above us, he squeezed my hand. "You did good, kid," he said, his voice soft. I thought about all we'd lost: our parents, our innocence, the quiet days before the sisters came. But we'd gained something too, a reminder that we weren't alone. The neighbors who'd stood with us, the community that rallied, they were our strength. Lila started a co-op with Mrs. Carter, sharing our crops with those who'd helped us. The farm thrived again, the ruts filled, the fields green. We didn't need to fight anymore. We'd won by standing together, by refusing to let arrogance win. The land was ours, and so was our peace.